Yeah, and then when we released the video, I did not blow up. So I am glad I charged in my rate, because some people trying to push their clout, assuming that it's gonna do you good. But at least from my experience, like when other people even give you shout outs, it's a very small percentage that really do a carryover. Yeah, so I guess it goes to I'm curious about, and I know we're going to talk about the Kickstarter, but I'm curious, like, how your thoughts of when people say, like, the whole exposure thing, and like, well, like, this is going to be a good opportunity, and then, I feel like sometimes because I still, like, sometimes I've seen how it can be beneficial in a long-term working relationship. But, as working dancers, like, eventually when you have more demand, when do you stop? Like, what are your thoughts for you guys? What are your thoughts on doing things for exposure and then doing things for money?
Well, like, to begin with, like, getting the exposure is crucial to get your brand out there, your work out there, and start making clientele. And word of mouth, it always spreads. But at the same time, you got to realize how long you're going to expose yourself and when you should start getting paid. Because if you continue working for exposure and you're already out there, and then you're still just doing these
working for exposure.
Yeah, working for exposure. Expose
you're
yourself.
Working for free.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So once
you're as exposed as you can be.
Yeah,
like, you're done. Like,
so once
get money.
Like, the way I do it, like, or see it, is when you work for exposure, that's where you find your, like, value and start messing around with the rates and all that afterwards. But, like, once you get your brand out there, but yeah, I'm just going on a tangent.
It's great. Because you're sharing your perspective as a freelance photographer as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a lot of people doing that. So, and then if they don't know how to, like, draw the line because they're doing it. But sorry, go ahead, Crystal.
I was going to say, for me, if you're a non-performer, you can kind of equate this to an internship. So let's say you finish school, you go to an internship, you're doing something for far less or for no pay to gain that experience, so that when you go on to the next thing, you have it on paper. Like, here, I've done the work, I've proved myself, I am more than capable, I deserve this amount of money. And you go on to request your well-deserved salary. So for a dancer, same thing. You're going out there, you're putting yourself out there, you're proving yourself until you have enough amounted up to support your backing. Whatever you have. Yeah, whatever you have on your dancer's resume. I'm good at XYZ. Here's the proof, and this is why I deserve to be paid.
Yeah, and anyone else feel free to chime in. Like, for me, like, when Vision Paradox first started up, none of like, a lot of our early clients were free, because we didn't have a body of work, and in order to show that you can get shit done, you have to you got to be able to prove it. And that's essentially what I guess we're kind of taking the step back into it right now with Temper Tantrum. We're creating a lot of free work right now because we need to build the brand and the platform. But I think we, as a company, we understand that the Kickstarter was great. It was the first step that we can do that, which is what we're going to be moving forward into second quarter when we open up the Patreon. But we understand that this is the long game, and we're not immediately, gonna go into merch or other stuff, because no one knows who the fuck we are, and we can't sell merch if no one knows who the fuck we are. So
exactly.
And to, like, add on that, like, also learning when to draw the line on when it's okay to hook your friends up with a free product, to when deciding when to start charging your friends. Because, like, everyone has a different set of friends. Like, I'm not saying everyone's gonna have, like, that friend who's been like, oh, let me get this, hook it up every time. I mean, I'm like, what I'm trying to say is just, like, don't even be afraid to start even charging friends and family for your services too.
Yeah.
Like, because if you do it so
real
often,
friends support their artist friends and pay full price.
Exactly. Exactly.
But, like, never be afraid to think they're gonna lose a friendship because I'm gonna charge you or something like that. Because if that's the case,
And if you do lose that friendship, then
yeah, goodbye, freeloader.
Yeah.
well, they might have a
Yeah.
reason to not
No, yeah,
want to pay.
like, yeah.
But if
Like-
their reason is, well, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you my friend, you'd be supporting me.
Yeah. Yeah. Jamie, you were gonna say something?
I just said that they're not a real friend.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Often, I think in the industry, you'll see the whole tit for tat. Like, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. If you hook me up, like, let's say you're a videographer, and another person's a dancer, and they want some content. Let's say if you film me and edit all this work for me, then I will credit you. And, if this blows up for me, it blows up for you. But even that can go on only for so long. I've seen people utilize that
Yep.
idea far longer than they should.
Yeah.
It gets you should know when it gets to be a bit unfair. And
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the whole bartering if the leverage is truly a win-win. What do you call it? There's this one b-boy that I worked with that was really he was really trying to get me to lower my price after in the middle of the project. And he says, "Man, you don't know, like, I'm about to blow you up, man." Like, this is kind of this, and this,
Excuse me?
and this b-boy is kind of like he's kind of known. He's a pretty big b-boy. Yeah, and then when we released the video, I did not blow up. So I am glad I charged him my rate, because some people trying to push their clout, assuming that it's gonna do you good. But I don't at least from my experience, like when other people even give you shout outs, it's a very small percentage that really do a carryover.